Well, hello, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I know it's been a minute since I've posted on YouTube, but there's a lot more coming your way. This video is going to be a Q&A video specifically for fitness coaches or people who are thinking about becoming a fitness coach. It runs the spectrum. You could be a coach for 10 years already. You could just be thinking about possibly doing it. I've gotten a lot of questions about it. I'm gonna answer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, around 10 or 12 questions, Q&A style. This is in conjunction with the launch of the online fitness business mentorship. Link is in the description below. Mike Vacanti and I have officially launched our new membership, mentorship, which is basically, I'll give more on it later, the way that we figured we could help coaches the most. Not really just sell stuff, to sell stuff, but to be better coaches, to stop focusing on the sales and the marketing and the sales copy and maybe the stuff that you don't even want to get into in the first place, and just focus on being a better coach, helping more people, doing what you love to do and spreading that to the world. I think there's been so much focus on figuring out how to get the automated sales funnels and automate your coaching, and to the point where like you're losing the purpose of why you became a coach in the first place. And that's why social media can be draining sometimes, because you feel like you have to do everything with an intent on the back end instead of just helping people. So anyway, more on that later. Gonna do this Q&A right now. Let's get started. So question number 1, hey Jordan, how are you doing? I look forward to this new mentorship. I became a coach recently and I'm afraid of making mistakes and doing something wrong with my clients. I feel like the more I learn, the less I know, and I can't help them at the end. It's very frustrating and I feel kind of lost sometimes. So the line I'm gonna repeat from this is, I feel like the more I learn, the less I know. This is a really common issue that people struggle with. I had an issue with it as well, especially when I was taking a lot more, when I was going to a lot more seminars. I was really deep in the I need to learn every single little thing about everything. That's a really fun phase, to just be trying to dive into everything and become an expert in everything. The issue that a lot of people struggle with, myself included, is when you take whatever you're learning as gospel and as though it is the only right way. It is that if you do that, you're good, but anything else, it's the death. It's like, it is awful. Anything other than this is just not good. And when you're learning a lot, most people will promote their way, most organizations, they'll promote their way as the way, and anything else is gonna make you fat. Anything else is gonna injure you. Anything else is going to ruin your progress. I mean, think about it. That's how the fitness industry works. It works on a pendulum. Carbs are either good for you or terrible for you. Deadlifting is either great for you or you're gonna blow your spine out of your back. Like, everything works on this pendulum because it's easier to sell something on either end than in the middle. What's really important to remember, number 1, is that there's no really right or wrong, good or bad, black and white. It's all more middle ground, and learning the principles as opposed to the minutia, that's where you're gonna get the most benefit. Because if you really look at the principles of any well-designed health plan, workout, nutrition, whatever, the principles remain the same. It's the miniature things that change based on the coach, as well as the client. So that's number 1. Number 2, and along on that same question, is you really have to think about the alternative, right? So if you're super nervous about what you're gonna give them, you think, well, okay, well, what if I don't do this, what are they gonna do? If I don't help them, what's their alternative? Are they gonna go buy P90X and do that? Are they just not gonna do anything at all? Net positive, what's the best option? Usually working with you is gonna be the best option because you care about them, because you are learning and educating yourself. It's either work with you or not, and if they're not, what else are they gonna do? It's really important. And then also to remember, no one knows 100% what they're doing in anything. No one knows, you never fully know. And I think learning to work through that and to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and rather than that's why, for example, with a client, you would never make them do the most drastic, extreme thing right away. You'd start off slow, progressively. Ironically, most people, when they're doing it to themselves, do the exact opposite. Most people, coaches included, when they start out, I'm gonna do this extreme diet for 21 days. It's well, hold on, you would never do that to a client, so why are you doing it to yourself? separate topic for a different day, but that's why you start off slow and incremental, to get to know them, to understand them. So it's normal to feel that way, just don't let that feeling prevent you from actually taking action and working with people. Next question, this was a really good one, I'm glad this was asked. How do you cope with clients that have the knowledge but lack the mojo? This is a serious good question, because most people have at least the base level knowledge that they need to be healthy. Most people know that exercising is good for them and that they should do it, but not everybody exercises. Most people know that given the option between an apple and a donut, the apple is generally the more nutritious, healthier choice. Let me phrase it this way. If you go out on the street and you find 10 people, and each of these 10 people want to lose fat, get healthier, and you offer them an apple and a donut, not all 10 people are gonna choose the apple. And it's not because they know about if it fits your macros. It's not because of that. It's because even though they know they want to lose weight and they want to be healthier, the knowledge always isn't always enough to help them make a change. And this is very important. This is getting into more psychology and emotion and behavior change. And this is really what my educational background is in, behavioral psychology. This is probably the most overlooked component of health and fitness as overall. You have all these this is actually why I switched in my freshman year. I switched from exercise science to behavioral health psychology, because I was sitting in exercise science classes learning, number one, things that a lot of the teachers didn't understand, programming and that stuff, but also everyone is so focused on learning the best program. Like, how do you program the best way? Like, what's the best thing, or the best nutrition, whatever it is. Meanwhile, you could have the best program in the world, but if someone's not gonna fucking do it, it's not gonna make a difference. And this is why understanding psychology and emotion and human behavior is equally, if not more important, than really understanding optimal programming, periodization, nutrition, because as long as someone's consistent with something, you can help them be consistent, then you're gonna make the best change. So how do you actually do it? How do you cope with someone that has the knowledge but not the mojo? Well, number one, you have to understand that spitting more knowledge at them isn't the answer. I get really upset when I see coaches being like, you know what you have to do, just do it. Well, thank you, I appreciate that, you motherfucking asshole. I understand what I know. It's like this, they know that they aren't eating the way they should be eating. They know they're not exercising. They know that, and they feel awful about it. And just saying it again, it doesn't change anything. Giving them a meal plan, giving them more tips, like more like well, do this. It's not necessarily what they need. And the first thing that I'll probably say on this is, sometimes if you look at the behavior change, the different stages of change, right? And depending on what model you're looking at, sometimes it'll be 7, 9, whatever. But if you look at the trans-theoretical model of behavior change, you can Google that, you'll learn a lot on behavior change. There's different stages at which people will be ready or not ready to make a change and progress to the next stage. Sometimes, and this is hard for some people to hear, sometimes people aren't ready to make a change. And that's okay. A really good coach will be very good at helping their client progress along these stages of change to the point in which they are ready and they can maintain it. But most coaches don't understand the process of helping a client progress along these stages, and that's where you get someone, they just quit or they leave. You try and try, where you're just giving them more and more and more, and they're just not doing it. And so I would say, if someone does have that knowledge, they do know what to do, but they're not doing it. Your job as a coach is to, number one, get to know them better, talk to them, maybe things outside of fitness, what's going on in their life. Find out what other factors might be creating so much more stress or so much more whatever that could be trickling down into their lack of action. Another thing that I do, and this is a very effective way that I've helped people move along towards more action, is giving them a challenge. A very brief challenge, not like a long, like 6-month thing, but like a 7-day challenge where you say, you know what, actually even last 24-hour challenge. This is something I'll do. If I have a client, for example, who knows what their calories should be, but they just are literally never hitting them, I'll say, hey, listen, are you up for a challenge? And yeah, sure. Okay, for 24 hours, for just one day, I want you to hit your calories. Can you do that? Just give me one day, 24 hours. yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do one day. And they do that one day. And what happens after that one day? Wasn't that bad. It's like, really? Really? Okay, so, well, let me ask you this. Do you wanna try and do a 48? You wanna do another 24 hours, make it 48? Yeah, I can do that. Okay, let's do it. Boom, they do it. Now they've stuck to it 2 days in a row. And you go, cool, listen, we're not gonna do another challenge, but just keep going back to it. And they're like, no, I wanna do another challenge. Cool, all right, cool. And now they wanna do it. And you can progress them that way. It's one really effective way to not give them more knowledge, but to change their desire and their motivation. And then they do that for a week, they lose a pound, boom, now they have more motivation to take more action. All right, so I hope that helped. And if you want more information on that, Google search the trans-theoretical model of behavior change. Really, really powerful, important stuff to know. Next question. 1 year into coaching, is it too early to put out content or keep getting more experience? I'm gonna reread that because I think I read that as though it was just like without any grammar. 1 year into coaching, is it too early for me to put out content, or should I just keep getting more experience? It's absolutely not too early to put out content. When people ask, is it too early to put out content? Usually what they're saying is, I'm not fully confident in all of my knowledge, and or I'm worried about people calling me out on social media. Should I spend more time learning and less time posting? And I would say two different things. Number one, when you post, you're gonna have to research in order to post. Whether you're writing an article, Instagram post, video, you're gonna have to do research to learn to make sure that what you're posting is accurate. So through the process of researching and studying and then posting, you'll end up learning more. And number two, you don't have to post. This is the really important part. Number two, you don't have to post and say, this is right, no other ways exist. Like, you can make a post and say, hey, listen, I'm a coach. I'm 1 year into coaching. I am by no means where I want to be. I'm gonna give you some tips, and this is some things that I've learned thus far in my career, but there are many other ways that work as well. So here's what I'm learning has found worked for me, but please don't take this as gospel. Take it with a grain of salt, try it, see what works for you, and go from there. No one can argue with that. It's a great post because you're being honest. Just because you're gonna post something that helps people doesn't mean that you have to be like the most amazing expert in the world. You should be open and honest. Say, hey, I'm a coach, 1 year in, by no means where I wanna be, but this has worked for me and my clients so far. Hope it works for you. And if you have something else that works for you, write it in the comments or DM me. It's great, right? So posting is not making a declaration of expertise. Posting is simply sharing something that has worked or not worked for you and your clients. What is the number one thing to focus primarily on for generating leads for your online coaching business? Content and helping people for free. Putting out free content, posting stuff and making videos. And it's funny, this question was asked on my Instagram. So it means they found me from a place in which I give free content. DMing people, just DM random people, get people on the phone. Just the majority of the best way to get more leads is to give out free content and help people. Now, if I'm gonna get really a little bit deeper into business, there are two main ways to get more leads, okay? Number one is through free content, and number two is through paid advertising, right? So you can do Instagram ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, whatever ads you want. You pay essentially to get in front of more people and then to hopefully get those people to stick around, like your content, whatever. And there are many ways to do ads. You could do ads directly to an email list. You could do ads towards actual just content of yours, ads to a product. Personally, if I don't really do ads, I haven't done them in a while. I do them, I haven't done them in over a year and a half. When I was doing ads, it was all mostly towards free content. So I would take an Instagram post, for example, basically give Facebook money to help more people see it, which people were always surprised by that. People in the comments would be like, I hate seeing the sponsored posts, but then I looked at yours and you're not asking for me to buy anything, it's just more content. So if you think about that, I'm literally taking my time and energy to make a piece of content for free and then give Facebook my money to then help that content reach more people. Just help them for free. So it's really the same thing, making more content. The only difference is you don't always have to pay for it. You can do it for free and it might be a slower growth, but it's still growth and it's still reaching more people. So long story short, give more content for free and help more people. What is the best way to learn how to write workout programs for a client? Really good question. Actually, so I have an article on this that I wrote in, when it was 2015, April 10th, 2015. I wrote the top 8 best books for strength and conditioning coaches. If you Google search the best books for strength and conditioning coaches, that article will come up. I'm gonna read to you right now the top 8 books I would get if you really want to learn and invest in learning how to write good programs. Number 1, Facts and Fallacies of Fitness by Mel Siff, the late Mel Siff, really amazing man, incredible, learned a lot from him. Science and Practice of Strength Training. This is a very, very scientific, in-depth book. It's tremendous. It's one of my all-time favorites. Don't expect to just read it and understand it the first time. Like, it goes deep, okay? It's a book to always have on hand. Periodization Training for Sports by Tudor Bompa. Amazing book. Helped me a lot, especially if you work with athletes. If you're more of a just gen pop person, you don't need this book, unless you really want to learn deep programming periodization strategies. Phenomenal. I would say, so Super Training is in here, and I have it as number 4. I'm gonna say Super Training is one of those books that literally no one in the history of the world has read. They just sit down and read it and start to finish. In terms of Super Training, it's a huge book. It's huge, and it's a very difficult read. Unbelievably scientific, and one of the best books ever written, but it is very overwhelming. So it's one of those books that you go in, you look at the content section, oh, I want to learn more about that, and you go to that page. Like, dude, you're not going to read this book start to finish, and if this is your first ever programming book, do not get Super Training. It's much more high level. Special Strength Training Manual for Coaches. This is, I think it's by, who is this? Verkhoshansky. This is by Verkhoshansky. I read this book for the first time in 2012, I believe. One of the best books of all time. Tremendous. Absolutely love it. Advances in Functional Training by Michael Boyle. Phenomenal book. Can't recommend it highly enough. Starting Strength by Mark Ripito. You mentioned starting strength and all of a sudden you get people freaking out. It's a great book for very basic programming. Really good starting point. I don't agree with everything. The nutrition section, do not read it. I think it's fucking awful. And Mark Ripito, respect, I love you. Like, seriously, incredible man, changed the industry forever. The nutrition information is awful. Do not read that part of the book. I don't agree with all of the technique advice given in the book, but just from the programming perspective, just from the how to program for a client or for just a basic strength, really very, very powerful in how simple it is. Practical Programming for Strength Training, also by Mark Ripito. Phenomenal book, very, very good. And those are the top 8, okay? So Google top 8 best books for strength and conditioning or strength coaches, and you'll find those. Next question, thinking about a career switch to health coaching, where to begin, certification. Here's what I would say. I am not a fan of certifications. Not to say certifications are bad. I'm sure there are some good ones. I can't speak highly enough of Precision Nutrition. Precision Nutrition, Dr. John Berardi, unbelievable business, really good certification. I would absolutely recommend that. Other than that, not really a big fan of certifications. Mainly because certifications are, you have to remember, are a business in and of themselves, right? There are people behind it, which doesn't make it bad inherently, but a lot of times they have other intent. And I've yet to see a certification outside of Precision Nutrition that I've really been like, that's good. Like, they really do have good intent through here. They really do have up-to-date questions. They really understand psychology and behavior change. I wouldn't care about getting a certification. And I can tell you, throughout my time as a coach, coaching online and in person, I've never had a single person out of thousands and thousands, I've never had one person email me and have the factor that whether or not they get coached by me be my certifications. I've never had someone be like, all right, yeah, I'll do coaching. Oh, wait, what are your certifications? Never once. Never had someone be like, hey, I'm thinking about getting coaching from you, but what certifications do you have? Never once. Because the thing that led them to coaching with me was how I helped them for free. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, email list, whatever, right? So where should you begin? Number 1, I would say, I'm gonna try and give some of the best blogs. I would say Lyle McDonald from bodyrecomposition.com. Unbelievable, like absolutely incredible. Obviously, I'm gonna pitch my own website, sciatfitness.com. A ton of really good information in there that all the way back to 2011. Mike Vicanti's blog, ontheregimen.com, a lot of really good stuff on there. Martin Birkin, leangains.com. It's mainly intermittent fasting, but if you actually read, like, that's the the base of it, his method is intermittent fasting. If you dig into the articles, you learn much more than just intermittent fasting. Really amazing stuff. Eric Cressy, ericcressy.com has amazing strength and conditioning stuff. Same thing with Mike Robertson. Both of those have phenomenal strength and conditioning stuff. In terms of a really good precisionnutrition.com, a lot of free, great information. I would say from the perspective of things you can subscribe to learn more about really the science and understand like the most amazing, like truth, science, unbiased research. Alan Aragon's research review, phenomenal, tremendous. It's like, I think it's $10 a month or less, and just unbelievable, really good stuff. So I would say start there. And then above all that, if you can get, sorry, it's itchy back. If you can get an internship with a local gym, ideally, I would say a private facility. So one of my, I did internships from all the way through high school to the end of college. I found the best internships to be at private gyms, because a lot of the New York sports clubs or the Bally's or the LA Fitness, all that stuff, they tend to not be led, not always, but they tend to not be led by people who are really interested in continuing education. The private facilities tend to be the ones that are really staying up to date and working hard to understand the science and how to practice it appropriately. So I'd say getting an internship is huge, not only from the perspective of learning, but also meeting other coaches and making connections. So that's what I would say for that. How do you promote your coaching services on Instagram? I don't really, to be honest with you. Occasionally, like over 2,000 posts, and if you scroll through my feed and look for me pitching a coaching program or my inner circle, like go here and do, like, you won't find that. You won't find something where I'm like, hey, go, like, I have this many spots left in my program, go do this. I don't do that on Instagram. I mention stuff, like I'll mention my inner circle. Like I'll say like super happy, proud of my inner circle members, put it in my story, but like a hard pitch, I don't really do. For me, I've always found the greatest benefit coming from giving, and eventually down the line, people coming to me and asking me, hey, do you do this, whatever, and that's worked very well. I think mainly because it's more of the long game approach, the mindset of I'm not looking for that immediate return, that immediate money. My goal of posting isn't to get people asking for coaching. My goal of posting is legitimately to help people. And then eventually you do that for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, people will be asking you more and more and more. A lot of coaches get discouraged because they put one post up, put 10 posts up, and like, well, where is everybody? It's like, you got a lot of fucking work to do before people will do that. It's that quick fix mindset versus the long game mindset. I'm not ready to coach yet, but I'm super interested in your program with Mike, the mentorship. Is it okay for me to take? Sure, absolutely. I would say this program is okay for anyone to take if they want to be a coach, either now or in the future, if they want to understand how to be a better coach, if you want to understand actual principles of coaching. So I'm going to talk a lot about strength training program design. I'm going to talk a lot about periodization. I'm going to talk a lot about how to do things appropriately for your clients on that front. Mike is going to do a lot of the nutrition stuff, how to set calories and macronutrients, how to understand maintenance calories, how to do body recomposition. We're going to do a lot of actual how to make you a better coach, talk a lot about behavior change, talk a lot about understanding the psychology and motivation. We're also going to talk about the business side of things, like how to actually get more clients, how to convert clients. And I think that's the main difference between us and other masterminds or whatever, is we're not going to teach you like automation system funnels. We're not trying to teach you that stuff, because we don't do that stuff. We literally just put out content for a long period of time that helps people, and then people come to us, and we're going to teach you how to streamline that as much as possible while keeping the intent around helping people. So anyone who wants to help people in health and fitness, it would be very helpful for. The main people we don't want even thinking about joining is anybody who is thinking, okay, well, I want to automate all my systems and make as much money as possible, and how do I do that? Well, that's not who we want. And maybe we just don't want them now. We want, if that person is out there and looking at this, it might not be for you now, but maybe in a year or 2 years or 3 years, when you realize like that's not working for you and you're ready to actually take the time to help people with good intent, then we want you. But until you're at that point, that's what we're saying. So love you. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you watched it, 26 minutes, 36 seconds, holy shit. Rico, thank you for editing this. Love you. If you want to join the mentorship, link in the description below. Any questions, email me, jordan@sciatfitness.com. Talk to you soon.